Once a year, shareholders get a chance for some face time to put questions to those running the companies they invest in. But when COVID arrived, those face-to-face meetings went virtual.
For those of you online today from the...
Changes to the Corporations Act this year mean online AGMs are now a permanent option.
I think it's one of the best changes to the AGM format in Australia that we've seen in the last 25 years.
Shareholder activist Stephen Mayne is aiming to take part in 100 AGMs this year, most from his home office, but he admits there are limitations.
The best advantage of the physical in-the-room AGM is the ability to do a barrister-style follow-up question, where you might ask 4 or 5 questions in a row. You can't get a follow-up question in the online format.
Also in the online format, you won't see this.
Shell must fall!
Shell paused its AGM in London after protesters shouted and sang throughout the meeting.
I'd like to carry on with the meeting, if I may.
And HSBC had a similar stall to proceedings at its AGM.
Please, could I ask you not to interrupt the duty?
In Sydney, these Telstra shareholders are pleased to be back in the room with the telco's board.
I think it's a blood sport. I love coming here because you get the people talking to the directors.
The online AGMs are useless.
No, I won't like to go online, and because I would like to see the people in person here.
Telstra's AGM is an example of what many are calling the new best practice, where shareholders can either question company directors in person or online.
The hybrid model's a really good one because it really allows accessibility for all of our shareholders regardless of where they're based.
Under new changes to the Corporations Act, completely virtual AGMs are only allowed if it's in a company's constitution. Some boards tried to change their constitution to remain 100% online, but shareholders said no.
There were some very high-profile examples of companies actually failing to receive support for constitutional proposals to create virtual AGMs. Ansell and Vicinity Centres, very high-profile cases. Other companies like Brambles and Newcrest actually withdrew their proposals during the pandemic.
Attendance at these meetings increased during the pandemic. There was a 36% jump from 2019 to 2020 at Computershare facilitated AGMs. And more shareholders are now voting online.
We saw more interaction in AGMs over the 2 years of the pandemic when we had the virtual environments. It encourages all sorts of different shareholders to attend that wouldn't normally attend a face-to-face meeting.
The Governance Institute of Australia warns companies will be closely scrutinised this AGM season.
By regulators, by shareholders, by activists, looking at how companies embrace the dual format of a hybrid and how shareholders feel that they've had a really decent opportunity to participate in the meetings.
A new way of meeting in the post-COVID era.